Things were pretty tough on us when we were kids, but that only served to motivate Rob. He was always driven and never backed down from a challenge. An example of this is when he was in elementary school. His teacher told him that he wasn't going to pass into the next grade, that because he wasn't putting enough effort into it. That angered him enough that he decided, okay, I'm going to put some effort into this, and he ended up getting almost straight A's on his next report card. That's Rob. That's the kind of effort he puts into everything he tackles.
White, limlim. Intra Isqui Simu. My First Nation Okanagan Silk's name is Simu. It means connected to the land. It was given to me by Lala, my Stemtima, my grandmother. We were a very, very poor family. We worked hard and we survived. And we grew our own food, we grew our own vegetables, we hunted the game, and we worked. Throughout my life, I've worked as an individual and usually had 3 different jobs at any given time. I created and followed my Lala's footsteps, my family's footsteps with raising cattle. That was the first business operation that I undertook as a young individual.
So I nominated Robert Louie for the CCAB Lifetime Achievement Award because of his leadership, not just for his own community, but as far as his entrepreneurial spirit. And as a young leader, when I was first elected back in 1991, and eventually became chief in my community in 94, one of the leaders I looked up to was Rob Louie, and I wanted to eventually meet him. And I had the opportunity to meet Robert, and he was very sharing in the progress of his nation and sharing ideas between our communities. But also, one of the initiatives that he was working on was the framework agreement on First Nation land management, which is sectorial self-government, and it has been a game changer for our community. We have gone from a 70% unemployment rate down to a 5% unemployment rate.
I think Rob is a very worthy recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award. His time at Westbank First Nation as chief is well understood by all, but the long list of other achievements he has are incredible, between the Land Advisory Board, the Peace Hill Trust, and the long list of achievements Rob's had over his lifetime.
At an early age, I worked in the fruit industry, in the vineyards, apple industry, did a lot of the work associated as that related to farm work. And it was always part of my passion to come back to that as an individual in business. I was elected as a councillor in 1974 and was the youngest then serving councillor of the then called Westbank Indian Band. Later on, I became chief, was elected as chief in 1986, and moved on for 24 years as elected chief. I'm very proud to say that we were one of the early First Nation communities in Canada to achieve self-government. And we moved ahead at lightning speed once that was achieved. I've worked in land-related matters for most of my life, either as a counselor, as a practicing lawyer, working with First Nations across the country. So lands-related matters has always been part of my passion, and working with First Nations in business is something else that I certainly aspired to. To get self-government, we also developed land management, and I'm part of the original founding members to move ahead with the whole concept of land management. Today we have 102 First Nation communities across Canada that are operational, that have passed their land codes, that have taken the steps of controlling their own destiny, passing their own laws, being recognized as governments, and that's very critical if you're looking at business and if you're looking at moving ahead in communities. And this is something that I've devoted my life to. I've been involved as the chairman for the Lands Advisory Board now for over 30 years.
You know, Rob is the true leader within our communities. You know, you see him on all the accolades. He's usually the chairman or CEO, or and even if he's not, he's definitely somebody that commands the room and the attention of everybody. You know, having leaders like that within our First Nations is imperative.
Rob has always been extremely generous with his time, not just with myself, but with many up and coming leaders within Westbank First Nation, and I'd like to say across the country. I know personally for myself that my 10 years in politics, or will be 10 years this August, I would not be in this role if it wasn't for Rob's leadership and mentorship throughout my 7 years on council.
In business, I've worked in many different operations. I've built up my own businesses, starting with the cattle operation, moved over to a manufactured home park, developed fourplexes and other related construction projects. Went ahead with the gas station, convenience store, did an ice cream shop, did a secondhand store, and did a number of other related businesses associated with that type of industry. Later on, I'm proud to say that I was part of the Indigenous World Winery, Indigenous World Spirits, and we have long-term peoples. Many of our employees are 30 plus years that have worked with us from various businesses that we've had. We do our best to look after our peoples and all of our workers, and I think that's important with business. It's something that Indigenous peoples need to really be involved with, to look after the peoples.
I was happy, in fact honored, to support Rob's nomination. I think that there's very few awards that could adequately capture Rob's contribution to Indigenous communities, to our municipal, provincial, federal governments, and a Lifetime Achievement Award is probably the best suited award to properly capture all that he's accomplished.
Well, Robert has a unique history in all across Canada with the work he's done, from things like the Lands Advisory Board, promotion of the First Nations Finance Authority, TSO's Trust, many other initiatives that Rob's been involved with over the years. And I felt that certainly he was someone who should be in the Hall of Fame without question.
I'm proud to be Indigenous, I'm proud to be Okanagan Silks, and I salute all of the First Nation peoples across Canada for all of their great achievements, and I will stand behind each and every one to ensure that opportunities are seized upon if that is the wish of the community. So, Lim Lim, thank you very much.